Hello and welcome to Behind Every Successful Leader, where we celebrate the power of virtual support in business growth. I'm Holly Copsey, founder of Virtually Priceless and the Visionary VA Circle, and I'm here to highlight the incredible impact VAs have in making businesses more successful. My guest today is Charlotte Frische. Charlotte is the founder of How To Associates, a boutique executive coaching and communication training consultancy that delivers programs for professional services, including finance, law, and healthcare, supporting ambitious businesses and individuals to do their best. Be their best. Charlotte is qualified as a master practitioner in NLP, certified professional coactive coach, and professional certified coach. She's powered up everyone from CEOs, CFOs, COOs to CTOs, as well as fast-track graduates throughout Europe, the United States, Asia, and Australia. Clients describe her as intelligent, incisive, creative, energetic, and honest, a style that gets great results that some have described as life-changing. So welcome, Charlotte. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Holly.
So could you please share a bit more about the activities and tasks that go on sort of behind the scenes day to day within your business?
Yes, well, when I decided to get a virtual assistant, who I think we must call Julie from now on because she has a name, I was running a whole load of different training programs, and that meant that I had associates working for me delivering those training programs and several clients who needed coordination. So it was a lot of admin to start off with when Julie came on board, and it was delightful when all of that was taken away from my shoulders.
Fantastic. And at what point in your journey did you realise you needed to bring in some virtual support, and how did you find the fantastic Julie?
So I was trying to grow my business, and I already felt like I was working every hour God sends. And I took a day out with a girlfriend of mine who is very entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. And we were chatting about virtual assistants. I think she may have seen something online, and I was already a member of the Female Entrepreneur Association. And I knew there were a lot of VAs in there. So I kind of jumped in there to see if I could find someone who was useful. So I think it was really at the point where I couldn't see how I could grow my business because I couldn't make more time.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of tasks does Julie do for you on a daily basis?
Well, on a daily basis, she is client facing. So she speaks to everybody from hedge funds, law firms, healthcare, whoever comes my way. And I tend to deflect all of that. So that's definitely day to day. And then she's also now in charge of my social media campaign. So she does all sorts of graphics on Canva, and she makes that efficient in terms of using Buffer, where I'm posting on multiple platforms and social media. And we're really just trying to get a consistent message going out the whole time. So although I might create the content for those messages, she will find images and she will format things for Instagram or for LinkedIn.
Brilliant. And do you have any specific examples of a time she's made a real difference in your business?
I think it was very early on when she joined, and we were doing a job where we were profiling possibly about 90 individuals in an organisation. I may be exaggeration, but it seemed a lot at the time. And or certainly producing 90 reports. And what that meant was we had to have, so you're profiling individuals in an organisation, and then the culmination is that everyone comes together on a training day. So to get all those reports in required real project management, actually, and it had to have a real time plan. So we needed the first load of reports to be done sort of 2 months before the 1 day training. Then we needed the next load of reports done. And of course, there were different types of reports. So it was complex in terms of the detail, the types of report we needed, making sure that the client was hitting the deadlines in the politest possible way, in order that we could actually deliver the training with the completed reports in about a 2-month time frame. And so bearing in mind that I'm an executive coach and I work with CEOs and Fortune 100 companies where I need to be focused on those people in that room, dealing with that level of admin would have been completely overwhelming, because I don't know when I would have been doing it in a timely fashion. So, I mean, Julie hit the ground running. I mean, she was amazing.
What a relief.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, I think this is the thing, is you can't keep it all going in your head. I mean, you can have multiple calendars and that kind of thing, but actually someone takes full ownership of an entire project and understands the deliverables and makes sure we're on track, and I'm getting reports on how is that being managed, is life-changing.
Yeah, just takes such a weight off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible. So what have been the biggest benefits of outsourcing and delegating for you?
Well, it was really interesting when I first started, because obviously, having not had a virtual assistant before, you don't know how many hours you're going to need, but you kind of start with about 10 hours a month. And what I found astonishing was that those 10 hours got used up organising my calendar. And for me, that was obviously a whole day that I could be focused on growing my business, as opposed to just being in the admin side of things. So that was already exceptionally time well spent. I mean, it's much better for me to be in front of a client than it is to me sorting out my diary. So that was a massive benefit to start off with.
Yeah, it's quite eye-opening, isn't it? Once you start totting up the hours and realising where your time is going.
Well, that's it. And I think you have to look at where are your strengths and play to your strengths. So, I mean, I'm sure all of us can manage our diaries, but the point here is that actually, can you do them as well as Julie or another VA? In fact, I mean, that's something I'd probably add, is that obviously you build a relationship over time, but what I realised with Julie, I would consider myself astonishingly efficient and well organised. I mean, as well as being a business owner, I'm a sole parent of 2 children and a dog, so I have to be super organised. But I think what was eye-opening with Julie is that she knows better systems and apps and gadgets and widgets that make her even more efficient. So she is better in terms of being organised and efficient and sorting out the calendar and all those kind of things. So you are paying for value add. You're not just transferring what you would do. You're actually paying for someone to do it better than you would do it.
Yeah. And just because you can do it doesn't actually mean you should do it, right? That's the thing as well. It's we never say to business owners you won't do it well enough. It's actually just that you shouldn't be doing it. There are more important things for you to do in your business.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what would you say to any business owners who might be hesitant about working with a VA or using virtual support?
I would test it out. Try. Get out of your comfort zone. Spend some money. I mean, I would say it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, really. Because ultimately you'll be spending more time building your business. You can get out and talk to your clients. You can get out and do more work if you're not tied to your desk doing things that someone else can do better for you. So I would just test it out and see.
Yeah, fantastic. And what about any tips for working effectively with VA? What do you find works well?
Yes. Well, I think this is another question that you should ask Julie, actually. But for me, I think it's very important to build that relationship very intentionally, and not use them as kind of like, oh, can you organise that in my diary? I think to actually explain to someone and spend time going, here's what I'm trying to work on, here's what I'm doing, this is why it's happening this way, is really important. So Julie and I did actually meet for lunch. So we had an in-person lunch, and that was great because I got to know a little bit more about her and just kind of what her aspirations are, what her life is like, all that kind of stuff. So we work really well together because we both work very odd hours. And so quite often we are working on a Sunday afternoon and we're doing back and forth like a normal school week. And then actually Monday to Friday, we're not in as much contact because that's the time we both seem to kind of communicate well. And I remember saying to her, so we're both Northerners, which I would say means that one's quite blunt and direct. Me, I'll talk about that. But I once said to Julie, would it be okay if I could just send you a one-liner sentence in the subject heading of an email if I need something done, rather than going, hi, how are you? Hope you're having a good day. How was the weekend? How was Mother's Day? Because actually sometimes I don't have time for that and I just need to kind of go, zap, can you do this now? And so that was fantastic because she knows that she doesn't need to add any waffle or fluff with me. But at the same time, there's sometimes when we have, we'll go, hang on a minute, we haven't spoken for a while, let's have a proper 1 hour, we'll block it off for the diary, and just have a general catch up. So I think it's just treating them as part of your team. I don't really sort of consider Julie as a virtual assistant. I see her as a really integral part of my team and my business.
Yeah, I love that. And it definitely makes the partnership so much more successful. We see that time and time again with clients. I think when you invest the time up front to building a relationship and making sure they understand what your priorities are and what you're looking to achieve, then it really helps them, the VA, do a better job.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, obviously, I'm obviously one of a few clients for Julie, but again, I imagine she's working with lots of different styles of brands, and so I'm very clear on my brand. As I always say, I'm more Prada than Primark, and so that actually does translate in how she is going to interact with the clients on email, and kind of getting a sense of my style, and also, I suppose, in a way, exclusivity is of what I do, because I am working with leaders in the city. So it's having that correct tone for my brand. And I'm sure that she is incredibly versatile for other clients as well, because obviously she does have many, but that's important for them to kind of understand that. And I think you have to work with someone so that they get a sense of that over time.
Brilliant. And finally, if Julie's watching this, what would you like to say to her?
I would say, firstly, thank you for your efficiency and patience. I would say thank you for sometimes being my therapist and listening to me garbling along. And thank you for pushing back sometimes when you know better. So just keep being you, Julie. You're an incredible support to me, and I like you, and I look forward to our next lunch.
I love it. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me. For anyone that wants to learn more about you, where's the best place to find you?
I would say howtoassociates.com is probably the best place to have a look at what we do. And there is a contact page on there.
Brilliant. And we'll share all the details below the post as well when it goes out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Holly. And thank you, Julie.